On the morning of June 27th, 2017, Ukrainian businesses started their day like any other. Employees powered on their computers, opened their accounting software, and began routine tasks. But within minutes, all machines froze. Screens went black, and a red ransom message appeared on all islands, demanding a payment of $300 in Bitcoin. Computers that had always been reliable now refused to start. What began in a handful of offices in Kyiv would, within hours, cascade across networks, paralyzing critical infrastructure. The outbreak spread too quickly, hit too hard, and its effects rippled far beyond Ukraine's borders. What would later be called NotPetya became the most destructive cyber attack in history. The origins of the attack were deceptively ordinary. Ukrainian businesses, legally required to use the accounting software M.E.Doc to prepare and submit tax forms, downloaded what appeared to be a routine update, but it had been poisoned with malware. Once executed, the program didn't just encrypt files, it overwrote the master boot record, rendering systems unbootable. NotPetya spread with unprecedented speed, exploiting multiple techniques to propagate. It stole Windows administrative credentials, leveraged the EternalBlue vulnerability in Microsoft's SMB protocol, the same vulnerability used in the WannaCry outbreak just a month earlier. It moved laterally across networks without user intervention. Shared drives, networked servers, and cloud-connected systems became conduits for the malware, creating a chain reaction that paralyzed infrastructure. In Ukraine, banks went offline. By mid-morning, bank terminals stopped processing payments. Government offices could not file forms, as all their computers failed, and even Chernobyl's radiation monitoring system had to switch to manual readings. Within hours, it had left Ukraine's economy and infrastructure in chaos. The attack did not remain contained. As soon as infected machines connected internationally, it leapt into Europe, Asia, and the United States, leaving widespread chaos in its wake. The timing and precision of NotPetya suggested more than criminal opportunism. Ukraine's geopolitical situation provided clear context. Following the removal of the sitting government, the United States interfered and played a direct role in shaping a pro-Western administration. Neighboring Russia condemned these actions as illegitimate interference and responded by annexing Crimea and supporting separatist movements in eastern Ukraine, creating ongoing conflict and heightened regional tension. NotPetya struck in this volatile environment, targeting software widely used by Ukrainian businesses. By hitting critical financial, governmental, and industrial systems, the malware served both tactical and symbolic purposes. The attack demonstrated how cyber warfare could extend the battlefield into ordinary office networks, leveraging technical exploits to inflict maximum disruption. At first, analysts assumed the malware was a variant of Petya, a ransomware strain first seen in 2016. Petya encrypted a computer's master boot record and demanded a ransom to restore access. Victims could, in theory, recover their files if they paid. The new attack mirrored Petya's methods closely enough that early reports referred to it as Petya, but deeper analysis revealed a fundamental difference. NotPetya did not encrypt files to unlock them later. It completely overwrote the master boot record, destroying data permanently. The ransom note was merely a smokescreen, a disguise designed to make the attack appear criminal rather than strategic. No amount of Bitcoin could reverse the damage. The malware also included a curious feature. If a computer contained a file named perfc, NotPetya would not execute. This kill switch was local to each machine, sparing a handful of computers from the devastation. It suggested careful planning in the code, as all perfc files were installed selectively and secretly prior to the initiation, further evidence that the attack was intentional sabotage, not ordinary ransomware. NotPetya, then, was not a criminal scheme. It was a weapon. Its resemblance to Petya was deliberate, a camouflage to hide its true intent, a targeted strike on Ukraine's digital infrastructure that would ripple outward to affect global networks. The attack quickly became international. Shipping giant Maersk lost access to tens of thousands of computers and servers, costing over $300 million, halting what represents almost 20% of global shipping. FedEx's European subsidiary TNT Express halted operations. Pharmaceutical manufacturer Merck suspended production. French construction firm Saint-Gobain and global law firm DLA Piper reported massive disruption, bringing all operations to a standstill. Total damages were estimated at over $10 billion, making NotPetya the most financially destructive cyber attack in history. The technical sophistication, timing, and geographic targeting pointed to a state-backed operation. Investigators traced the attack to Russia's military intelligence agency, the GRU. Targeting Ukraine on the eve of Constitution Day, the malware sent a message. Interference in the region would have consequences, and, in the age of global networks, those consequences were not confined by borders. Once NotPetya had run its course, the scale of the damage became clear. Entire networks were paralyzed, and data on infected machines was permanently lost. The malware had overwritten the master boot record. There was no way to decrypt or restore files from the affected computers. Paying the ransom was futile. The malware was dubbed a wiper, not ransomware. Organizations scrambled to recover. Those with offline intact backups were able to rebuild their systems, reinstall operating systems, and restore data. In some cases, hardware had been so compromised that servers and computers had to be replaced entirely. Networks were restructured to prevent further spread. SMB ports were blocked, administrative credentials were secured, and lateral movement through shared drives was strictly controlled. Globally, companies learned a hard lesson about the vulnerabilities inherent in interconnected systems. Large multinationals were forced to pause operations while rebuilding IT infrastructure. Windows systems were patched to close the EternalBlue exploit, and cybersecurity monitoring became an immediate priority. Despite the clear attribution, there were no arrests, no accountability, and no reparations. Russia denied any involvement, while the international community issued formal condemnations. NotPetya, dubbed a wiper and not ransomware, demonstrated how cyber warfare could blur the line between crime and state operations, with a single line of code causing billions in damage. It was not about money, it was about directed destruction. The malware's purpose was sabotage, a calculated act of war disguised as a crime. NotPetya showed the world that modern conflict could extend into digital infrastructure, and that geopolitical tension could manifest as a virus traveling through ordinary office networks. NotPetya was never ransomware at all. It was a cyber weapon built to destroy and send a message. This was Phantom Frontiers. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please drop a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And like and subscribe for more true stories from the edge of the unknown. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your mind even more so.